Hello everyone, I'm William the Storyteller, and I'm here to guide you into a peaceful rest tonight. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Also, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. It started with a cabin, deep in the heart of the Ashwood Forest. A cabin so old it seemed like the woods had grown up around it, cradling it in moss and pine needles. Evelyn had inherited the place from her grandmother, who used to say strange things in her letters. Things like, "The trees whisper after midnight," and "Never leave the lights off on the third Thursday." Evelyn, of course, thought these were just the ramblings of an aging mind, until she spent her first night there alone. The forest was vast. No nearby neighbors, no signal, and barely any power, just a wood-burning stove, a few gas lamps, and an old battery radio. The roof creaked with every drop of rain. That first evening, Evelyn made tea, lit a fire, and curled up on the dusty couch, listening to the wind shift through the pine needles outside. She nearly dozed off, until something scratched at the window. It wasn't loud, not even alarming, just a slow, deliberate drag of something against the glass. She sat up, blinking in the dim lamp glow, and peered out through the curtain. Nothing. Only dark trees and falling rain. She told herself it was a branch, a raccoon, a trick of the wind. But the scratching came again the next night, and the next. Then came the tapping. Evelyn found herself waking at exactly 2:16 a.m. each night, to a soft tapping on the window. Not frantic, not aggressive, just patient. One night, she finally gathered the nerve to open the door and step out onto the porch. The forest was quiet. No wind, just rain. But standing at the tree line, far off yet unmistakable, was a figure. Watching. Too far to see clearly. No movement. No response when she whispered a shaky hello. She stepped back inside, locked the door, and didn't sleep the rest of the night. In the morning, there were no footprints in the mud. By the end of the first week, Evelyn started to notice the small things. The way her tea kettle moved just a few inches overnight. The old family photographs. One or two seemed to shift places on the mantel without explanation. The quiet whispering from the old radio, even when it wasn't turned on. She searched every inch of the cabin for signs of animals. Nothing. But the feeling of being watched became stronger by the day. The moment the sun dipped behind the tree line, the entire forest seemed to lean in as if listening to her every breath. She found her grandmother's journal in a locked drawer beneath the floorboards. It wasn't a diary. It was a log, page after page of notes. Dates, times, moon phases, descriptions of shadows, sightings, dreams. "They don't like firelight," one entry read. "They prefer fog. They hum when they feed." Evelyn didn't know what that meant, until the fog came. It rolled in one night just after sunset, thick, cold, and strangely blue. That night, she dreamed of someone standing at the foot of her bed. She could hear them breathing, could smell the forest on their skin. Wet bark, old leaves, something deeper, moss and decay. When she woke, the floorboards were damp. The following night, Evelyn placed salt around the door and windows, like the journal advised. At exactly 2:16 a.m., she heard whispering right outside. Dozens of voices, soft, like wind through dead leaves. But she didn't look out the window. Not this time. Days passed. She became nocturnal, unable to sleep at night, only catching rest in the daylight hours. She started counting how many times the tapping happened. Once, pause, then twice, then silence, always in threes. She asked herself, was it code? The journal hinted at it. If they knock in threes, they want inside. If you answer, they'll come. But what were they? Then came the day when the rain wouldn't stop. It fell for hours, then days. The woods became rivers. The trees wept. The roof leaked. Evelyn lit every candle she could find. She tried to leave, but the car wouldn't start. The phone had long since lost service. Even the road was washed out, swallowed by the rain and roots. She was trapped. On the fifth night of rain, the whispering moved inside. No longer muffled through the window. No longer out in the trees. It came from the hallway. She didn't move. She sat in the corner of the bedroom with a lantern and the journal clutched to her chest, heart thudding like a war drum. The voice that called her name wasn't one she recognized. Soft, gentle, but wrong. And it knew her. Morning came, but something felt off. The air was thick, the sunlight too pale. Outside, the trees looked taller, closer. She noticed something etched into the doorframe that hadn't been there before. "You're part of the forest now." She started sleeping in short bursts, 20 minutes at a time, never at night. The longer she stayed awake, the more she noticed the trees outside the window shifting, not swaying, moving, leaning closer. The whispering now came from inside the walls. She sealed the windows, burned sage, drew symbols from the journal on the doors. And still, at 2:16 the tapping came. But now it was from inside the room. Weeks passed, or maybe only days. Time bent in the forest. Evelyn's voice went hoarse from talking to herself, singing lullabies her grandmother used to hum. She didn't open the door anymore. She didn't answer the tapping. She didn't light candles at night. She only listened. To the rain, to the breathing, to the trees, to the ones who waited. And then one morning everything stopped. No more rain, no tapping. The sky was clear. The forest was still. Evelyn opened the door, and there was no one there. No trees, no fog, just silence. But as she stepped outside, the cabin behind her vanished, and the forest swallowed the space where it had once stood. She turned back to look for it, but all that remained was an open path into the woods. And something inside her whispered, "Welcome home."